You roll out of bed, already dreading the day ahead. Another marathon of meetings, deadlines, and a to-do list that never seems to get shorter. You're exhausted before you've even started. Take a deep breath. But what if I told you that just 5 simple practices could turn your day around? By the time you finish watching this video, you'll have a roadmap to a calmer, more fulfilling life. Sounds too good to be true, right? I thought so too, until I hit rock bottom. Personal experience. Hey everyone, I'm Grace, and a few years back, I was drowning. Burning the candle at both ends, chasing success, and thinking I was living the dream. Spoiler alert, I wasn't. It took a massive burnout for me to realize something had to change. And that's when I stumbled upon these 5 daily practices. Now, let me be clear, they're not magic pills or overnight miracles. But they are powerful habits that, when done consistently, can transform your life from the inside out. I'm not talking about some woo-woo, self-help fluff here. These are practical, science-backed strategies that have not only turned my life around, but have done the same for countless others I've shared them with. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't have time for more stuff in my day. Trust me, I get it. But here's the kicker, these practices don't add to your plate, they make everything else on that plate easier to handle. So, whether you're feeling overwhelmed, stuck in a rut, or just hungry for a more meaningful day today, stick with me. In the next few minutes, I'm going to break down the 5 daily practices that could be game changers for you. And hey, you don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. By the end of this video, I'll challenge you to pick just one of these practices to try. Because sometimes, that one small step is all it takes to set a whole new path in motion. Ready to jump in? Let's do this. Before we go further into this informative video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel to help YouTube recommend our content to other viewers. Mindful morning ritual. Alright, let's jump into our first life-changing practice, the mindful morning ritual. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, I'm not a morning person. But hang with me here, because how you kick off your day sets the tone for everything that follows. Think about it. How many times have you jolted awake to your alarm, immediately grabbed your phone, and started scrolling? Before you know it, you're 15 minutes deep into a Twitter rabbit hole, your heart rates up from some ridiculous headline, and you haven't even gotten out of bed. Sound familiar? That's letting the world hijack your day before it's even begun. But what if, and here's where it gets good, what if you took those first waking moments back for yourself? Enter the mindful morning ritual. It's not about packing a million productivity hacks into your dawn hours. It's about creating a pocket of calm, a launch pad for your day that's designed by you, for you. So, what does this look like? Let me break it down. First up, and I can't stress this enough, leave your phone alone for at least the first 10 to 15 minutes after you wake up. I know, it feels like cutting off a limb at first. But trust me, the world can wait. Instead, start with something I simply call breathe and be. Sit up in bed, or if you're feeling ambitious, park yourself by a window. Take 5 deep breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Feel your lungs expand, notice the morning light, and listen to the sounds around you. You're not solving world hunger here, you're just showing up for yourself. Next, and this was a game changer for me, grab a journal. Nothing fancy, even a sticky note will do. Write down 3 things. 1. Something you're grateful for. Could be as simple as coffee exists. 2. One intention for the day. Not a to-do, but how you want to _be_. Example, today, I choose patience. 3. A single task that, if accomplished, would make the day a win. This whole shebang? It can take as little as 5 minutes. But those 5 minutes? Pure gold. Now, here's where the pro tip comes in, and listen up, 'cause this is crucial. This isn't a one-size-fits-all deal. Some of you might be thinking, journaling? Hard pass. And that's okay. Your mindful morning ritual should be something you look forward to. Maybe for you, it's gentle stretching. Or watering your plants while you whisper words of encouragement to them. Don't knock it till you've tried it. Maybe it's brewing that perfect cup of coffee or tea, savoring the aroma, and enjoying it in complete silence. The key is to make it yours. Experiment. If meditation makes you want to climb the walls, don't force it. If you're more of a visual person, try doodling your intentions instead of writing them. The only non-negotiable? It's gotta be screen-free, and it's gotta be just for you. I'll let you in on a little secret. My morning ritual? It changes with the seasons, both the literal seasons and the seasons of my life. Sometimes it's a 20-minute yoga flow, other times it's reading a few pages of a book that feeds my soul. The constants are the gratitude, the intention, and the promise to myself that I'm starting this day on my terms. So, here's your challenge as we wrap up practice 1. For the next week, carve out just 5 minutes, yeah, you can spare 5 every morning. Keep the phone at bay, and do something deliberate and mindful to start your day. Maybe it'll feel weird at first. Maybe you'll doubt it's doing anything. But stick with it. Because I'm telling you, when you start your morning with intention, you'll be amazed at how much clearer and calmer the rest of your day can become. Alright, ready for practice 2? Because this one's gonna get you moving literally. But first, drop a comment and let me know, what's one thing you might try in your mindful morning ritual? I'm genuinely curious to hear your ideas. Physical movement. Alright, we've set our day up right with our mindful morning ritual. Now let's dive into practice 2, physical movement. And before you groan and think I'm about to preach some hardcore gym routine, let me stop you right there. This isn't about sculpting the perfect beach body, it's about waking up that powerful mind-body connection. See, here's the thing most of us miss, our bodies and minds. They're not separate entities. They're more like that dynamic duo in your favorite buddy cop movie, constantly playing off each other. When one's dragging, the other feels it. But when they're in sync, that's when the magic happens. Now, I used to be the poster child for the I'm too busy to exercise club. My idea of physical activity was sprinting to catch the bus or pacing while on the phone. But let me tell you, that strategy? It's about as effective as trying to mop up a flood with a paper towel. The game changer for me wasn't joining a fancy gym or training for a marathon. It was simply committing to move my body, every single day, in whatever way felt good. And here's where I want you to expand your definition of what counts as physical movement. Yeah, yoga's great. A brisk walk? Fantastic. But have you ever had a solo dance party in your living room? Or tried shadowboxing? Heck, even vigorous gardening can get your blood pumping. The key is finding what lights you up. For some of you, that might be a structured fitness class. For others, it could be taking the scenic route on your bike instead of driving. The options are endless: Tai Chi, swimming, rock climbing, hula hooping. I even know someone who swears by jumping on a mini trampoline for 10 minutes a day. Now, let's tackle a big misconception: you don't need to go hard or go home. Scratch that saying from your vocabulary right now. Because when it comes to reaping the mind-body benefits of movement, consistency trumps intensity every time. I'll let you in on a little secret. There was a point in my life where I thought I needed to sweat buckets and feel sore for days to call it a real workout. Know where that got me? Burned out and buried in excuses to skip my next session. These days, my movement practice looks a lot different. Some days it's a challenging hour-long session, sure. But most days, it's a 15-minute yoga flow, a half-hour stroll in the park, or yes, sometimes even that living room dance party. The shift in my energy has been night and day. I used to drag myself through afternoons, mainlining coffee just to keep my eyes open. Now, that midday slump is practically extinct. My mind's clearer, my mood's more stable, and here's the kicker, I look forward to moving my body. It's like my body went from being this nagging, needy roommate to becoming my most supportive best friend. All because I committed to showing up for it, day in and day out, no matter what. So here's my challenge to you for practice 2, ditch the all-or-nothing mindset. Instead, aim for 20 to 30 minutes of movement that you genuinely enjoy, every day, for the next week. Notice I said enjoy, not endure. Can't do 30 minutes in one go? No sweat, pun intended. Break it up. 5 minutes of stretching here, a 10-minute walk there, and maybe cap off your day with some gentle yoga. It all adds up. The goal isn't to crush yourself, it's to kindle a conversation between your body and mind. To remind both that they're in this life together. I want you to tune in during this week. Notice how you feel, not just during your movement sessions, but in the hours that follow. Are your thoughts a little clearer? Are your reactions a bit less knee-jerk? That's your body high-fiving your brain, folks. Remember, this isn't about radical transformation overnight. It's about small, consistent deposits into your well-being bank. And trust me, the dividends are out of this world. So, future movers and shakers, hit me up in the comments. What's your go-to-feel-good movement? Or if you're just starting, what have you always wanted to try? Let's get this brainstorming session rolling. And stick around, because up next, we're diving into practice 3. It's all about flipping the script on your entire day with just a few words. Intrigued? You should be. It's a total game changer. Gratitude check-ins. All right, are you ready for practice 3? Because this one's like a stealth bomber of positivity. It sneaks up on you, and before you know it, your entire outlook gets a major upgrade. I'm talking about gratitude check-ins. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Gratitude? Come on, isn't that just some fluffy, feel-good nonsense? I get it. I was a skeptic too. But then I dug into the science, and let me tell you, it blew my mind. See, gratitude isn't just about saying thanks and slapping a smiley face on everything. It's a powerful mental tool that rewires your brain. I'm not just spitballing here, the research backs this up. Studies have shown that people who practice gratitude consistently report a whole host of benefits: stronger immune systems, lower blood pressure, better sleep, higher levels of positive emotions, more joy and optimism, and get this, they're even more helpful and generous to others. It's like this ripple effect of awesome. But here's the kicker, your brain has a built-in negativity bias. It's like Velcro for bad experiences and Teflon for good ones. Back in caveman days, this kept us alive. You wanted to remember where the saber-toothed tigers hung out, not admire the pretty flowers. But in our modern world, this bias can leave us stressed, anxious, and overlooking the good stuff. That's where gratitude comes in. It's like your brain's personal trainer, strengthening those positive muscles. And the best part? You don't need fancy equipment or a ton of time. You just need to get intentional about noticing the good. So, how do we weave this magical practice into our days without it feeling like another chore? I've got some ideas for you. First up, the classic, a gratitude journal. But let's jazz it up a bit. Instead of just listing 3 things you're grateful for, try this. At the end of each day, write down 3 things that went well. They don't have to be massive. Maybe you had a killer sandwich for lunch, or you hit all green lights on your way to work. The key is specificity. Savor those moments as you write them down. Not big on writing? No problem. Try the photo approach. Snap a picture every day of something that sparks gratitude. It could be your pet, a stunning sunset, or even just your comfy socks. Build your visual gratitude gallery. Now, if you're more of a social butterfly, try this on for size, the gratitude share. Make it a point to tell at least one person every day something you appreciate about them. Could be a coworker, your partner, or the barista who remembers your complicated coffee order. Not only does this boost your mood, but you're also spreading those good vibes. For the multitaskers out there, I've got you covered too. Red light gratitude. Yep, you heard me. Next time you're stuck at a red light, instead of drumming your fingers impatiently, use that 30 seconds to mentally list off 3 things you're grateful for. By the time the light turns green, you're not just moving forward in traffic, your whole mindset's shifted into a higher gear. But my personal favorite? The gratitude ambush. Pick someone in your life, could be a family member, a friend, a mentor, heck, even a former teacher, someone who's made a positive impact on you. Now, out of the blue, send them a message. Tell them specifically how they've influenced your life for the better. I'm warning you now, this might spark some happy tears on both ends, but I promise you, it's worth it. I remember the first time I did this. I reached out to my high school English teacher, Mr. Thompson. Told him how his belief in my writing gave me the courage to pursue it as a career. His response? He said he'd been considering retirement, questioning if he'd made a difference. My message changed his mind. Talk about a perspective shift. Here's the thing about gratitude, it's not just about appreciating what you have. It's about recognizing the sources of goodness outside of yourself. It humbles you. It connects you. It reminds you that even on your worst days, you're not alone. So, here's your gratitude challenge for the week. I want you to ambush someone with appreciation. Reach out to a person who's positively impacted your life, someone who has no idea you're about to contact them. Share your gratitude. Be specific. Be heartfelt. And after you do, come back here and drop a comment. Tell me how it went. How did they react? More importantly, how did it make you feel? I'll bet my bottom dollar it'll be one of the highlights of your week. Because here's the beautiful paradox of gratitude. The more you express it, the more you find to be grateful for. It's like you're tuning your radar to pick up on the good stuff. Now, I know we're all busy. Life comes at us fast. But these gratitude check-ins? They're like little life preservers in the daily chaos. They keep you afloat and remind you of what matters. So, whether it's journaling, sharing, snapping photos, or sending surprise thank yous, find your gratitude groove and stick with it. Your future self will be beyond grateful that you did. Coming up next, we're gonna flip the script on personal growth. Ever heard the saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Well, in practice 4, we're about to prove that adage dead wrong. Stay tuned, because things are about to get seriously interesting. Learning something new. Alright, folks, buckle up, because practice 4 is all about supercharging that beautiful brain of yours. We're diving into the world of lifelong learning, and trust me, this isn't about cramming for some test or chasing another degree to hang on your wall. This is about keeping your mind as fit as your body, and let me tell you, the benefits are off the charts. Now, I used to think learning was something you did in school, then maybe college, and then you were done. Graduated. Finito. Man, was I wrong? Turns out, our brains are like these incredible, ever-evolving sponges, and they're hungry for new info all the time. Here's the scoop. When you learn something new, you're not just adding facts to your mental filing cabinet. You're forging new neural pathways. It's like you're building your mental superhighway system. And the more diverse you're learning, the more complex and resilient your brain becomes. But wait, it gets better. Studies have shown that lifelong learners have a lower risk of dementia, better mental health, and, get this, they even tend to live longer. It's like learning is the fountain of youth for your noggin. Now, I know what you're thinking. I barely have time to binge my favorite show, let alone learn something new. I hear you. But here's the thing, learning doesn't have to mean signing up for a master's degree or spending hours buried in textbooks. It's about adopting a curiosity mindset. It's looking at the world around you and constantly asking, I wonder how that works, or what's the story behind that? Let me throw some ideas at you. What about picking up a book on a topic you know nothing about? I'm talking way outside your usual genre. If you're a sci-fi buff, why not try a book on urban gardening? You might be surprised at how it sparks your imagination. Or hey, podcasts are like this goldmine of knowledge you can tap into while you're doing other stuff. Driving to work? Folding laundry? Pop in those earbuds and dive into a podcast on ancient civilizations, modern art, or the science behind your favorite cocktails. Online courses are another fantastic option. And I'm not just talking about the kind that gives you a certificate at the end. There are courses on everything from magic tricks to motorcycle maintenance. The goal isn't another line on your resume, it's about the joy of discovery. But my absolute favorite? Trying a new skill. Something hands-on. Maybe it's learning to play the ukulele, taking up watercolor painting, or even trying your hand at coding. The point is to challenge yourself, to embrace being a beginner again. I'll let you in on a little secret. A couple of years ago, I decided to learn how to make sourdough bread from scratch. Talk about a humbling experience. My first few loaves? Hockey pucks would have been softer. But I kept at it. I joined online forums, watched countless YouTube tutorials, and turned my kitchen into a flour-covered laboratory. And you know what? It wasn't just about the bread, though I gotta say, I now make a mean loaf. It was about the process. I learned patience. I got comfortable with failure. I started to see the parallels between nurturing a sourdough starter and nurturing my growth. Who knew bread could be such a profound teacher? That's the beauty of lifelong learning. It's not just about acquiring knowledge, it's about gaining new perspectives. It makes you more adaptable, more empathetic, and way more interesting at dinner parties, I might add. But there's something even deeper at play here. In a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable, learning gives you a sense of agency. It reminds you that no matter your age or circumstances, you can always grow. So here's your challenge for practice 4. This week, I want you to deliberately learn something new. Something that has zero to do with your job or your usual hobbies. Maybe it's finally figuring out how to solve a Rubik's Cube. Or learning 10 phrases in a language you've always been curious about. Maybe it's taking a virtual tour of a museum on the other side of the world. Whatever it is, commit to it. Carve out just 15 to 20 minutes a day. And here's the important part, embrace the suck. Yeah, you heard me. Embrace being bad at it. Laugh at your mistakes. Because of that discomfort, that's where the growth happens. And once you've dipped your toes into this new learning adventure, come back here and spill the beans. What did you try? What surprised you? Did it spark any new interests? I'm telling you, this habit of continuous learning, it's like compound interest for your brain. The dividends are exponential. It keeps you humble and hungry, and hell, it makes life a whole lot more fun. So, whether you're 18 or 80, it's never too early or too late to learn something new. Your brain is begging you for it. And who knows? That random bit of knowledge might just open doors you never even knew existed. Now, I don't know about you, but all this talk about learning has got my mental gears turning. I'm already itching to dive into my next learning project. But before we do that, we've got one more practice to cover. And let me tell you, practice 5? It's a total paradigm shift. We're going to challenge some deeply ingrained beliefs about productivity and success. So, stick around, because we're about to flip the script on how you end your day, and it might just be the most radical act of self-care you've ever taken. Intentional unwinding. Alright, we've made it to our 5th and final practice, and I've got to tell you, this one's a real eye-opener. We're talking about intentional unwinding. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, great, another lecture on getting 8 hours of sleep, hold up. This goes way deeper than that. In our hyper-connected, always-on world, we've got this toxic notion that rest is for the weak. That if you're not hustling 24/7, you're falling behind. Let me be blunt, that's a load of crap. And it's a mindset that's driving us all into the ground. Here's the truth bomb: rest isn't a reward for productivity. It's not something you earn after you've checked off every item on your to-do list. Spoiler alert, that list is never ending anyway. No, quality rest is the foundation that makes meaningful productivity possible in the first place. Think about it like this. You wouldn't expect your phone to run without ever charging it, right? So why do we demand that of ourselves? We're not machines, folks. We're living, breathing, feeling human beings. And just like any complex system, we need downtime for maintenance, repair, and integration. But here's where things get tricky. True rest, the kind that rejuvenates you to your core, doesn't just happen. Not in today's world. You've got to get intentional about it. You've got to protect it like it's the last slice of pizza at a party. So, what does intentional unwinding look like? Well, it starts with setting some boundaries, and I'm not gonna lie, this part can feel uncomfortable at first. We're talking about a tech curfew. Yeah, you heard me. Pick a time, let's say 9 p.m., and after that, those gadgets go to bed. No more endless scrolling, no more just one more episode, and no more late-night work emails. I know. The FOMO is real. But let me tell you something, the world will keep spinning if you don't respond to that Slack message until morning. Promise. Instead, create a wind-down ritual that signals to your body and mind that it's time to shift gears. Maybe it's a warm bath with some Epsom salts. Or some gentle stretching. For me, it's brewing a cup of chamomile tea and reading a few pages of a book, and I'm talking physical, paper book here, not a screen. Now, here's where I'm going to challenge you. Build some reflection into your evening routine. I'm not talking about ruminating on all the stuff you didn't get done. Nah. I mean taking a few minutes to journal, meditate, or just sit quietly and check in with yourself. How are you feeling physically, mentally, emotionally? What went well today? What do you need to let go of? This isn't just fluff. It's a powerful way to process your day, to hit the mental save button so your subconscious can do its magic while you sleep. And speaking of sleep, let's bust another myth wide open. You don't get bonus points for running on fumes. Consistently skimping on sleep is like taking a sledgehammer to your health, creativity, and decision-making skills. I used to wear my 4 hours a night habit like a badge of honor. I'll sleep when I'm dead, was my mantra. Well, let me tell you, I was halfway there without even realizing it. Irritable, forgetful, always one coffee away from a meltdown. It wasn't sustainable, and it sure as hell wasn't impressive. That's when I had to take a long, hard look at this hustle culture we're all swimming in. You know, the one that glorifies the grind and treats burnout like some sort of twisted status symbol. I realized I'd bought into a lie, hook, line, and sinker. Here's what I learned: hustling doesn't guarantee success. But it does guarantee exhaustion. And the kicker? Often, our best ideas, our moments of real clarity, don't come when we're pushing ourselves to the limit. They come when we give ourselves space to breathe. So I started treating my downtime with the same respect I gave my work hours. I put it in my calendar. I said no to things, even fun things sometimes, to protect my wind down time. And you know what? It felt selfish at first. I kept waiting for the productivity police to show up and revoke my adult card. But then something magical happened. My energy levels stabilized. My mood improved. I started waking up feeling refreshed. And get this, I was getting more done in less time because I was operating on a full tank. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. Setting boundaries, especially with yourself, is hard work. We live in a world that's always trying to encroach on our time and space. But claiming that time, fiercely guarding it, that's an act of self-respect. And ironically, it makes you way more effective when you are in work mode. So here's your challenge for practice 5, design your ideal wind down routine. What would a perfect, restful evening look like for you? Write it down, get specific. Then, for the next week, I want you to implement at least 2 elements of that routine every single night. Maybe it's the tech curfew. Maybe it's 10 minutes of meditation. Whatever it is, commit to it. And I want you to pay attention to how it affects you. Are you sleeping better? Waking up easier? Do you feel more patient and more creative? Jot down your observations. Then come back here and share your experience. I want to know what worked, what was tough, and any surprises you encountered along the way. Because building this community of intentional rest takers, that's how we start to shift the culture. Remember, your worth isn't measured by your productivity. You're not a machine, and you don't need to apologize for having limits. Those limits? They're not weaknesses. They're invitations to go deeper rather than wider. So tonight, when you start your wind down routine, I want you to say this to yourself: I give myself permission to rest. Say it out loud. Mean it. Because you deserve it. Not because you've earned it, but simply because you exist. If you're looking to support your health journey further, click the link below to discover my recommended healthy living products. Alright, our esteemed viewers, we've covered a lot of ground today. 5 daily practices that have the power to completely revolutionize your life. But I know what you might be thinking: this sounds great, but it's too much. I can't overhaul my entire life overnight. And you know what? You're right. You shouldn't try to do it all at once. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's this: start small. Seriously small. Pick just one of these practices. The one that resonated with you the most. Maybe it was the mindful morning ritual. Or perhaps the idea of learning something new every day lit a spark in you. Whatever it is, choose that one thing and commit to it for a week. Because here's the deal: it's not about perfection. It never was. It's about progress. It's about those tiny, daily deposits into your well-being bank. They add up, I promise you. Remember, you're not after some overnight transformation. You're building a life that feels good on the inside, not just one that looks good on paper. Now, I'm dying to know which of these practices struck a chord with you. So, do me a favor. Drop a comment below. Tell me which one you're going to try this week. Not only does it help hold you accountable, but you might just inspire someone else to take that first step too. And hey, while you're at it, if you found value in this video, hit that subscribe button. I'm always cooking up practical, no-nonsense strategies for living a richer, more fulfilling life. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming up next. Let me give you a little teaser. Next month, we're kicking off a 30-day challenge that's going to push us all out of our comfort zones in the best possible way. It's all about doing one small, brave thing every single day. Intrigued? Yeah, I thought you might be. So stay tuned for that. Before I let you go, I just want to say thank you. Genuinely. Thank you for spending this time with me, for being open to these ideas, and for being part of this community. Your presence here, your willingness to invest in yourself, it doesn't go unnoticed. I know life can feel overwhelming sometimes. I know there are days when it seems like you're taking one step forward and two steps back. But I want you to remember something: you're capable of more than you realize. These practices? They're not just tasks to tick off a list. They're reminders of your resilience and your capacity for growth. So, as you step away from this video and back into your day, I want you to carry this with you: every small step matters. Every moment of mindfulness, every burst of movement, every expression of gratitude, every new thing you learn, and every boundary you set for your well-being adds up. You've got this. And more importantly, we've got each other. Until next time, keep showing up for yourself. I'll catch you on the next one. This is Grace, signing off. Stay curious, stay kind, and remember, your best life is built one day at a time.